No, why would you do that? Cash grab, cash grab, cash grab. Why do you do this? Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. That was super sweet of you. Warning, I might be a little eccentric today because it's freaking beautiful outside. It is a beautiful springy day and I have a very springy outfit on. I'm wearing my little Wild Fable Target dress that I love so much. And can I let you guys in on a secret? Come here, I gotta tell you a secret. This dress smells musty, like really musty. Like it's been in my closet all winter long and hasn't been washed since last year, and it smells like like pretty dank. But that's just between you and me. Nobody else knows that, and you can't smell anything through the camera, luckily. So we'll just go back to where we were, and oh my gosh, don't we love the dress? Yes. But that's not what this video is about. You did not click on this video to find out that my dress is a little bit musty. No, you clicked on this video because you, like me, have an interest in eyeshadow palettes with packaging that I hate. I don't mean for this video to be negative. I know I make a lot of videos being critical of the makeup industry and of makeup companies, but I truly mean for this video to be constructive criticism, because the palettes I'm going to talk about today, I'm not even referring to the stuff inside, right? I'm not talking about bad color stories, and you guys know I could talk about bad color stories all day, but the palettes we're talking about today are packaging specific, packaging that irks me, and I'm hoping that this can be constructive. You know, maybe somebody from a makeup company is watching this video and they got a little notepad out and they're gonna take little notes and they will make sure not to do this in the future, you know. So I just mean it all to be constructive, and obviously this is all just my personal opinion, and if you like any of these palette layouts, hey man, I'm so freaking happy for you. That's great. So if that sounds like a topic that is interesting to you and you want to hear all about some eyeshadow palettes that really get my goat, then I encourage you to please subscribe and keep on watching. It's coming at you right now. And I always forget to say this in the intro, I'm doing my makeup too. Obviously, I'm not just gonna be just eyebrows and lip gloss all day. I got a good bunch of stuff right here in front of me. We're gonna be doing a springtime look, naturally. So I think I'm gonna be using the Midas Cosmetics Artistry Volume 1.2 palette. It's like a little pastel palette. They have two different versions of it. So I have the version intended for more fair to medium skin tones, and then they have a version that's made for deep to rich skin tones and made with different amounts of depth, which I think is so cool. Okay, so the first eyeshadow packaging that I want to talk about applies to a couple of brands, okay? And that is diagonal eyeshadow pans. Oh my good god, if I do not hate a diagonal eyeshadow pan. One of the big culprits of this is Tarte. Tarte loves to make me upset with their eyeshadow layouts. They always love to do these little diagonal eyeshadow pans, and it drives me nuts. I don't know what it is about it. It doesn't change the application of the formula or anything, but it does change my tune on whether or not I want to buy those palettes, and I never do because they drive me nuts. And I brought up Tarte first because Tarte is definitely the guiltiest of doing this. Like, I feel like Tarte does it more than everybody else. Like, I think they did it with their Lele Pons collab, which that whole collab was just very bad. It made no sense. It just, cash grab, cash grab, cash grab, you know? But I know they've done it with other palettes too. It feels like that's Tarte's go-to. They're like, oh no, we forgot to make a creative palette. Just make the eyeshadow pans diagonal and it's fine. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel like a decision that's informed. Like, it doesn't feel like they're doing it for any reason other than to just make it a little different so the eyeshadow palette can say, I'm not like other eyeshadow palettes, you know? And like I said, Tarte is not the only brand that does this. Another brand that did this recently that really bummed me out, because I kind of wanted to try this palette, I liked the color story, was Couture. Couture, if you don't know, that's Mac Daddy's brand, and he recently did a collab with Static John, who Static John is Katie's husband. If you guys know Katie on YouTube, her husband is John, Static John. And so over the summer, Static John and Mac Daddy would do these Club Daddy concerts, which actually I thought was a really cute thing. The whole idea was they would go on Instagram Live and host like a club style party, and it was all, you know, on Instagram Live, so nobody would was going out and everyone was staying home and being social distance, and I thought that was a really cute thing. So when I saw they were coming out with a collab together and they were calling it Club Daddy, I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. That's kind of fun. And I saw the color story and I was like, oh my gosh, beautiful. Purples, blues, shimmers, my type of stuff. And then I saw that they made the freaking eyeshadow pans diagonal and I was like, no, why would you do that? I don't know what it is. It just really drives me nuts, you guys. These diagonal pans, they don't do anything. Like I was saying with the Tarte palette, it feels like an attempt at creativity, an attempt to be different, and I always appreciate an attempt to be different, but I just don't think this is it. And I know I'm not alone in saying this because I have seen lots of other videos of people talking about eyeshadow palettes that they hate, eyeshadow packaging they hate, and it always comes back to these diagonal pans. I feel like we can come to a consensus that these just don't work, you know? And maybe I don't know nothing about business or anything, so maybe these diagonal pans are not actually preventing people from buying the palette. Maybe they're still selling well, but I just feel like, you know, from what I'm hearing on the makeup streets, the people don't like the diagonal pans. I would love to hear from you guys. Is this a deal breaker for you, or do you literally not care? Do you just look at the color story and you're like, whatever about the packaging? To me, it ruins the whole thing for me. I think it's also the wasted space. Like when you have the palettes more at a diagonal as opposed to just like a standard, you know, layout like this, the little spaces in between bother me more. Even though there's like spaces in between here, it bothers me more when they're diagonal. I hate unutilized space. This is probably just a very Virgo thing about me, and all of you air signs are like, whatever, I don't care. But it bothers me and I'm so excited we got to talk about it today. So I will stop picking on these diagonal pans for now and we can move on to something else. Alrighty, just going in with some of my NYX glitter primer here on the lid. Sorry I haven't been talking about what I'm doing, but what else is new? Okay, so moving on to the next eyeshadow palette packaging that drives me bonkers. Palettes that include a brush in the palette. Now, here's the deal. As a cheap lady, I freaking love a free brush with purchase. Like, if you're gonna give me a free brush with the eyeshadow palette, that is going to entice me to buy it more. Absolutely, 100%. But the thing that I don't like is when they put the brush in the palette itself. Why do you do this? Why do you do this, makeup brands? The brand that drives me the most nuts with it, because we all know Anastasia does this, right? And you know, I personally don't love that brush. I think I got rid of all of mine because they're kind of scratchy. But you know what? I don't hate it at the bottom there, like in that bottom slot. That doesn't drive me nuts. But what really drives me nuts is when you put it in the middle of the palette. Urban Decay. Do you remember when Urban Decay came out with the Stoned Vibes palette? And I'm not even gonna lie to you guys, I was really tempted by this palette. I thought it looked really pretty. I thought the shimmers looked really nice. I watched a few reviews. I was thinking about it. And then I really sat down with myself and I said, I will never reach for this because of that silly brush in the middle of the palette. Why put the brush in the middle? I mean, honestly, why put a brush slot at all? Like, if you want to give a free brush with purchase, that's really exciting. No one's gonna care if it's in the palette or not, because I think most people, one, don't just use one brush. Even if you give it a double-sided brush, most people aren't just gonna use that one brush. And also, they're probably not gonna keep it in the palette, you know? So it just doesn't make sense. I get it. I like the idea of it being very utilitarian. I get where you're coming from. I like the idea. I like the initiative. I like the effort, but it's not working. Cut it, get it out of here, because it's in the way being there, you know? And now as soon as you take the brush out of there, now you're just left with this empty slot in the middle of the palette. It looks so out of place. It looks so awkward. It makes the palette look cheaper to me, honestly. I think it makes it look very much like Claire's makeup, which, you know, is not a great thing to be compared to when you're trying to charge luxury pricing. And it's not just a thing in eyeshadow palettes. I know they do it in like blush compacts too. I know it's like a big thing Dior does, is they're always trying to give you that little brush in the blush. I wouldn't know. I've never bought anything from Dior, but from what I've seen in videos, they're always trying to give you like a little brush. If you have ever actually used a brush that a makeup product came with, let it be an eyeshadow palette or a blush or a bronzer or whatever, please let me know, because I don't think I ever have. Here's the thing, I don't throw the brushes away. I save them because I have a little baby cat who likes this little head brush. So sometimes when they send the little soft brushes that I won't put on my face, I'll use them to brush his little head because it's very sweet. So that's a good repurposing tip for you guys, but I really just wish these eyeshadow palettes would stop putting the brushes in the center. It's awkward, it's out of place. I don't think very many people use them, and it's wasteful. And you know it probably adds to the price somehow, so I would rather them just cut down the price slightly and skip the brush altogether, you know, or put it on the side. Either way, stop putting it in the packaging because I do not like it. Yes, do it for me. Do it for me and me alone. I'm just kidding. I would love to know what you guys think about this. Do you care? Am I screaming into the void again? I would love to know. Please do let me know. And now I will talk about something else. All right, I'm now moving on to some graphic liner here. I have the By Mel Lops Radioactive Water Ink. This is the shade Beam. It's super, super orange. It's also a UV color, so when it gets dark out, I can take my UV flashlight that my mom got me and I will glow in the dark, and it's so, so cool. But moving on to another eyeshadow packaging that stresses me out. Can we talk about the Sugarpill Capsule collections? And here's the thing, creativity, 10 out of 10. This is so cute. Your brand is called Sugarpill. You have these palettes that look like little pills. It's adorable. I cannot take that away from you. Absolutely not. It is so, so adorable. However, I do wish there was a little more sense behind the shapes, if that makes sense. It doesn't, I'll explain it though. So my feeling is that the different sizes of the circle pans, I don't mind a circle pan, that I'm actually quite okay with, but my issue with these circles is that the different sizes don't always make sense. I will give it to them, it looks like in a couple of their palettes, the circles that they make larger are like the more blush tone colors, and that I think is absolutely brilliant. Like if you want to make the colors bigger that could also be used as face colors, I think that is really smart. Hi, it's me the next day editing and standing in my shower. So I did not explain that well at all in the video. I don't know what I was on about there, but basically what I was trying to say is I feel like in the Sugarpill palettes, sometimes the blushes and that are the larger pans seem like they could be a good amount of depth that everybody could use as a blush, but in others of their palettes, it seems like the big colors wouldn't be a universal blush color for everyone. So I would have rather them made that bigger shade, more of a topper shade, or more of like a transformative style shade, or if it was gonna be a blush tone, you know, just make it deep enough that it could work on multiple skin tones. So that was the point I was trying to make. Sorry I didn't explain it well. Back to me looking cuter yesterday. Like I could see if they wanted to make the highlighter shade the big size, that would make sense, right? Although it is difficult to pick like, you know, a universal highlight shade because not everybody's highlight shade is gonna be the same, but if it were like a fun colored highlight or something, that can be cool. Maybe a cool like topper shade, that would make sense to me. Like if they wanted to make one of the larger shades a more transformative shade, that would be cool. For example, sorry to use my own stuff as an example, but like in this Midas pastel palette, this shade here is a totally transformative shade that you could put over other shades to change the color and make it like a sparkly holographic version of that color. So like if I were gonna remake this palette into a Sugarpill palette, I would make this shade the big shade since it could be used as a transformative shade. Another brand that does this thing with like the random different size circles is Elcie Cosmetics. Now I had never heard of Elcie Cosmetics before, but I saw them when I was looking through Trend Mood's page. They have, I think they call it their Minimalist collection. Cute colors. You know me, I'm not opposed to an all shimmer palette. I keep saying you know me. I don't know if you know this about me, but I am not opposed to an all shimmer palette. I love shimmers and I'm fine with using multiple palettes to create a look. So I love the idea of this all shimmer palette. What I don't love the idea of is these random different colored pans and this layout that makes my little Virgo heart beat a million miles an hour because my brain can't comprehend it. I'm sorry, I can't make sense of it. It really does just feel to me like brands are just doing this to stand out, and like honestly, I'm talking about it, so maybe it's working, but to me it just feels like there's not a lot of thought behind the reason for doing this. Like I said, aside from just trying to stand out and trying to be unusual, you know, I'm a fan of the unusual and the strange, it just feels kind of random to me. And with so many eyeshadow palettes on the market nowadays, you guys, I feel like nothing can be random, everything has to be purposeful because we as consumers have so many options that to me, if something doesn't make sense immediately, I'm like, you're out of here and I'm on to the next one. So I personally just really don't like the layout of these, but I would love to hear from you guys. Do you care? Again, am I screaming into the void? Does nobody care at all? And you're just like, it doesn't bother me. I like the colors. I'd buy it anyways. I'm also pretty sure Elcie Cosmetics is a little on the pricey side, as is Sugarpill. So for me, if something is already expensive and then on top of that has a layout that doesn't make sense to me, I'm probably just gonna not buy it and then never think about it again. So would love to hear your thoughts on these sort of random different size circle layouts because they drive me nuts. All right, going in with my NYX Conceal Correct Contour palette here to do a little concealing, correcting, and contouring. So the last palette I want to talk to you about today, this might blow your guys' mind, but I'm not really a big fan of Jeffree Star Cosmetics or Jeffree Star. But personal biases aside, this Alien palette drives me nuts. I can't look at this. I can't look at this for more than 10 seconds without just like being upset about it. And like I've said with all of these, nothing to do with color story or anything. This is purely just not using space well and making me anxious. You know how on the Fairly Odd Parents when Mr. Crocker suspects Fairly Odd Parents, he goes, "Fairly Odd Parents," and he like contorts into a bunch of different shapes? That's me every time I see this Alien palette because the layout just stresses me out beyond belief. Oh my gosh. It's just like, utilize the space better, please. You left so much blank space here, and I get it. It's an interesting shape. It's shaped like, was it shaped like an alien head? I can't remember what the outside looks like. But then why not make some of the eyeshadow pans a little differently shaped so you can utilize it better? I don't know, you could have done maybe a larger blush shade just to fill out this empty space. I just feel like brands shouldn't be afraid to do unusually shaped palettes. I mean, I personally don't care. I know some people don't like unusually shaped palettes because they can be more challenging to store and more challenging to travel with. But for me, I don't really mind that. What I do mind is a palette that's bulky but doesn't utilize that space well. So like I used Jeffree Star Cosmetics Alien palette as an example, but I know that Glamlite does that sometimes, and I don't want to talk poorly about Glamlite for more than a second because Glamlite is an indie brand and I've heard nothing but good things about their formula, but I do know they have a couple palettes that have some of this empty space too. Like I think the Burger palette is one, and they also have this donut palette that leaves empty space on the side. Basically, what I'm getting at here is that you shouldn't stray away from having an unusually shaped palette. Don't be afraid of that as a makeup brand. Again, me talking to the makeup brands like I'm in a meeting with them right now. But I just think, you know, make the eyeshadow pan shapes different to fit the shape of it, you know? I'm not opposed to an eyeshadow pan shape being different if it's utilizing the space. That's fine. That's totally different. If you need to make an eyeshadow pan diagonal to fill in empty space in an unusually shaped palette, that is fine. Just don't do it in a square palette, you know? So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. As per usual, I didn't pace myself well and my makeup is not done, so let me just finish up a few things and then I'll come back and give you my final thoughts. Alrighty, and just like that, I have finished my makeup look. The dogs are barking. Everyone is very excited. Oh my goodness. Let's take a peek-see here. I feel like this is really fun and summery. I'm loving the neon. Oh my goodness. Once it gets to be a little bit warm outside, I am just so drawn to neon colors, and especially oranges. Oh my gosh, I live for an orange lip. This is the Fenty Mademoiselle lipstick, the shade Saucy. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. I kind of dabbed it out a little bit, but it's super vibrant. I mean, get a load of this lipstick. I like to wear it as blush sometimes too. Honestly, let's just do a little, why not? A little on the spot, last minute changes. That's what I'm all about, spontaneity. It's a good time. I hope you guys liked this video. I hope you enjoyed hearing me talk about some eyeshadow palettes that drive me nuts with the packaging. I would love to hear if you have any similar experiences than me. Like I said, am I screaming into the void? Who knows? I could be at any time. You could. That was scary. Did you hear that? The door just closed on its own. Ah, I didn't like that at all. But I would love to hear what eyeshadow palettes you guys don't like the packaging of. Does packaging not bother you? Or are you, like me, very invested in packaging? Because I could dissect packaging literally all day long. I find it so interesting. Oh my gosh, I would love to go on a tour of a makeup production facility and see how they make the packaging. That would be so interesting to me. But I would love to, as always, hear your thoughts about this subject. So definitely leave me a comment down below. Do you like when I do videos where I do my makeup at the same time? I'm not very good at it. I'm trying to get better. It's very chaotic. These are always very chaotic videos, so I feel like the dog's barking is very appropriate for this because I feel chaotic, but that's okay. I got a lot going on right now. But I thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and they are always just as fun as this one. The last video I posted was talking about the new Lizzie McGuire ColourPop palette. I did a dupe for that. That was super fun. I'll definitely link that video down below for you to check out if you're interested. And yeah, check out my description box for that video. Also for all of the makeup details of everything I'm wearing today. Also in my description box, I will have a bunch of Black Lives Matter resources as well as a bunch of resources to help support the Asian American community right now. So please click on those links if you haven't yet. And I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!